Hi, I'm Jill.
And I'm Kaz.
I'm long.
I'm short.
Kaz is a vegan.
Jill loves meat.
Why are you laughing? Why are you laughing?
I played for England 144 times.
I played for England 161 times. I had to get that in.
And the jungle thing as well.
Me, Queen of the Jungle. I'll take that one.
We're unlikely mates.
But best mates. So we've started a podcast together where we're going to cram in as many stories as possible every week.
Coming up on this week's episode,
I am doing live on the news The Worm along the beach, and I was just like, oh my God.
we watched it back that evening.
Yeah, and I was like, we are in so much trouble. When you played, you were so feisty. You'd like leave your studs down the back of the Achilles.
No, I wouldn't. You're exaggerating for the pod.
No, you would. She literally somehow got in touch with Beats headphones and managed to get hold of 25 pairs of headphones, and she sent a message out going, come to my room one by one. And I walked in and went out with this big pair of headphones.
Welcome to Long Story Short.
Kaz, episode 2. Did you watch our first one back?
Yep.
What did you think?
It's great.
That is not believable whatsoever. I never actually watched myself back doing anything. A proper cringe.
It's a bit awkward, isn't it?
Yeah.
Think, I sound like that.
Oh, so bad. I think it was when I was in the car and the radio come on and it was like my Capri's voiceover, and I was like, oh my God, that sounds so bad. Like, get it off.
What was the one I always hear you on? Was it the kitchen one?
Oh yeah, Howden's. Yeah.
That tickled me. Was it with Cammy?
Yeah.
I quite like that. That was one I used to laugh about when I.
Do you like Cammy?
Yeah, he's great.
Yeah.
What a lovely
So
guy.
it wasn't me, it was Cammy.
You're both lovely people.
Have you had a good week, Kaz?
Great. Yeah. What have you been up to?
We haven't actually caught up this week, have we?
No.
What have I done this week? I did actually have a pinch me moment this week. I got called up to go on the Jonathan Ross show, but I kind of found out on the Monday and the record was the Wednesday.
Right.
So I'm on my way to London, literally had no shoes. I'm about to go and do the record, and obviously Jonathan Ross is like glitz and glamour.
Yeah.
So I had to send someone to get us some shoes. So thanks, Dan, for that. Actually, I need to pay him, I think, still. But Craig David was on it, Jack D, obviously Jonathan Ross. And I had a real moment where I was just in the middle of the interview and I just looked around and I was like, I'm actually on the Jonathan Ross show.
Really?
You know, you've just watched something for years. I remember Kelly Smith doing it years ago.
I watched that. That was so good.
Yeah. And did you watch mine?
I did watch yours. You were very good.
Now, that was believable. So
There you
you
go.
didn't listen to the podcast, but you did watch Jonathan Ross.
Well, I actually did know that you were on.
Yeah.
We haven't caught up about it.
Yeah.
I knew you were on. And yeah, so I wanted to see how you got on, and you were brilliant as ever.
Oh, no, it was good fun, actually. And Craig David was bringing out a new song. And I asked him if I get married, would he sing at the wedding? And he said yes.
Have you got his number?
Well, yeah, I think I do. But then I did say, well, you'll be busy on Sunday. And I think he was like, God, how many times have I heard that one? So that was a bit awkward. But like, have you ever had a moment, like it doesn't happen to us that often, like I'm very lucky some of the stuff I've done, but yeah, I just had a real moment. Like Jonathan Ross, he came into like your little dressing room beforehand and I was like, hi, nice to meet you. He's like, I'm going to do some magic tricks for you. And
Was it magic?
yeah, he had like cards and was doing magic
Is it
tricks.
just like to diffuse, not diffuse, but like to
Just
normalize
to say hello,
it?
I think.
That's
Just
nice,
to say
isn't
hello.
it?
Yeah.
Is he any good?
Yeah, he was good. Really
Really?
good. He was like, what's your card? He was like, is it the 2 of diamonds? And it was the 2 of spades. But I was like, I'm not gonna tell him any different.
Did you get it wrong?
No, he didn't.
Oh,
I'm just joking.
Oh.
But yeah, so real
so gullible.
pinch me. Yeah, I know. Any pinch me moments this week?
I did go on holiday, which was actually, it was a working holiday.
Yes.
That was a pinch me moment, actually.
I have a confession about that
What?
to tell you.
Oh no, what?
I actually had to mute you.
Did you?
Yeah. Because I was seeing, where were you? It looked like paradise.
It was in the Maldives.
Oh, it looked amazing. I was waking up, it was raining, and you just had like your footprints on the sand. Like, oh, it just looked like bliss. And I was like, I'm going to have to mute her. She's bringing my mood down.
Well, no, it was like a pinch me moment because I would never go there.
Yeah.
It is like paradise, and it's one of these very, very pricey holidays that you'd never go on. But I basically had to coach It was the Easter holidays.
Yeah.
And to go there, I coached the kids, their football sessions. It was so bizarre, but it was like a pinch moment because you're just on this kind of resort. It's a barefoot resort. You don't wear shoes, and
Not even to play football.
that was the weird thing, right? I was a bit like, this is strange. The kids were coming in like barefoot. Some were coming in football boots, and I was like, oh my God, this wouldn't happen back home.
Yeah.
And then there's like kids, and then there's like adults as well. And we've got this one pitch, it's like 30-odd degrees. And I'm like trying to entertain everybody and make sure everyone's all right, make sure everyone's drinking and keep hydrated and stuff. But yeah, I mean, I'd never go to a place like that
Yeah.
ever again. So like that was a bit of a like, I am actually in paradise, and I'm like, yeah, it was wicked to be
So
fair.
was this like work, like get there 9, finish at 5 every day for like what 10
No,
years?
it wasn't too well. You can't do coaching for too long in 30-degree heat, humidity.
So
yeah,
what was your hours?
I don't have to discuss my hours on this podcast, Jill.
No, come on. I want to know.
I had to do an hour's coaching 4 times.
And how many days were you there?
10.
No way. You did
No way.
4 hours work
No way.
out of 80 hours available.
It's good math.
So you spent 76 hours just on a bit.
Yeah, but it's hard. Like there was one awkward, I will say this, there was one awkward kid that came up, and I was so calm. I was like, oh, I can't. I was, you know me, I sometimes to the point, and this kid, he turned up late, and I was like, fine, you're on holiday, you can rock up to football sessions whenever you want. Obviously, that we don't ever do that.
Yeah.
This kid came in late and didn't apologise. I was like, fine. And then he was like, so he came and I was like, okay, we're doing this game, so in you come. And he goes, I don't want to play your game.
So at least he was honest.
Yeah, and I was thinking, So I just was like, I can't pander. So I said, all right, mate, you can sit over there, and when you want to join in, just let me know and we'll get you in. And I carried on and went with the kids that were actually playing.
Oh.
And eventually he came and was like, you ready to play now? I was like, okay. So in you come then. I thought, I can't change everything for one kid.
Yeah.
And
so basically you're saying like you had this awkward kid for 1 hour, right? Which wouldn't have ruined your day. And basically you put him on the side so you didn't even have to bother with him and just carried on with your work/holiday.
I'm working, right? I'm there on time, prepping the session, turns up late, doesn't want to do it. That's not my problem. I'm not
Okay.
there to babysit. There's some really good kids there, and I blatantly had favourites.
Yeah.
I let the favourites win.
You got a nice tan as well, didn't you?
Yeah, this is actually fake tan because I didn't tan.
Oh.
So I didn't want to be that person that came back from the Maldives without a tan.
And are you doing it next year
I don't know.
and the year after?
I was like, oh, have you got any feedback? Do you think they want me back? I was like, please have me back next
Oh my
year.
God, put my name down for that. I am available for coaching. I will do 2 hours. I have actually got my B license. And yeah, if you're an awkward kid, I will let you join in the session. No, wait. I'm getting my pitch in. I'll be there next
If
year.
I see you at my gig next year,
No, do you know what though? You told us. I've got another confession.
I
This
know.
podcast should be called Confessions, and we'll get Usher on. But right,
Oh,
you know
God.
what? You know what? You told us about this coaching thing, right?
Oh,
And I was like,
this is epic.
like,
This
oh.
is brilliant.
You know what? I've
This
only
is
done
so
this
good.
twice. I've done this twice, right? Someone tells us they've got something good, like through social media or whatever. One of them was Ellen White telling us that she got a free Dyson, you know, the hair straightener that like dries your hair, like
yeah.
straightens it and everything. Yeah,
We
Jill,
need that.
just send this message on Dyson and they'll send you one. So I sent one and they were like, sent us the link to the website to pay like £400. So I was like, well, I didn't get a free one. And then with your holiday thing, I signed up to this
It
like
was work.
signed up to this football coaching thing, and they were like, yeah, we'll definitely get you to do one. And I've been here plenty of times on holiday as a kid and as an adult, so I'm not being disrespectful, but I think they come back saying I could have the Skegness Butlins holiday camp in England. And I was like, how has Kaz got Maldives and I'm off to Skegness, which is a brilliant holiday but not great weather? Recently, I did go to Buckingham Palace and I didn't read the brief. I rocked up with like my big suitcase, like rolling it across the gravel. Everyone was looking. Walked into this room. It was like Ruby Wax, Sarah Lancashire,
Wow.
Victoria Beckham. And then they put us in this other room and then Queen Camilla comes out.
You speak to her?
Well, I kind of introduced myself. I don't think she had a clue who I was, to be honest. But I was like, "Oh, I've recently retired." She was like, "Oh, you don't look old enough to have retired." And I was thinking, "No, well, I mean from sport." And then she just moved on, I think. But yeah. But do you know what? I've always wanted to meet Sarah Lancashire. And I'm in this room, and you know when you keep like looking at someone,
I know
like
you went an awkward start.
yeah, I went really
No,
awkward, and I
Jill.
felt like she could tell I was staring, and she was probably like,
Did you not just go up and just...
no, and she like looked at us and was like, "I'll come over in a minute," as if you know when you're chatting to like kids sometimes, like that awkward kid from your training camp. So I was like just stood there, and then as we left, I was like, "This is my moment." So I turned round, and I don't know why, but the only thing that come out of my mouth was, "Hello, nice to meet you." You know when you get asked that question, do you want 4 people dead or alive at your dinner table? I picked you, and she just went, "Oh, that's nice." And then, oh, it was just so awkward. I was like, "Just get me out of here." Literally grabbed my big suitcase, dragged it across the gravel again at Buckingham Palace, and just got in the nearest taxi and just left. But I was mortified.
Can we tell everyone a real like kind of hashtag moment that I remember from, I think this was maybe 2 years ago now, where you sent me a voice note and it was to Bass as well, and it was hashtag read the brief.
Yeah.
Do you know which brief it was?
Oh, I've done that a few times. Which one was it?
The one where you actually again went to Buckingham Palace, didn't realise that you was doing the speech for the big garden
Oh, yes.
in front of how many people?
Yeah, oh, thousands. I
And
thought
what-
it was people that had been on the Duke of Edinburgh Awards, is that right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And basically I thought I was going to be meeting like 20 kids that had passed it, and suddenly I'm in the garden of Buckingham Palace with like members of the royal family. I've got one of them, you know, them big microphones, and they're like, "Yeah, Jill, just go and do your speech." And I was like, "I'd just like to say well done to everybody for passing." And then I don't know why I do this. I must panic. I just go to like say weird things. And I was like, "Remember everyone, pressure isn't a thing. Without pressure, coal wouldn't turn into diamonds. Go and be a diamond." And I was just like, "Oh my God, I can't believe I've just said that." But you know when you
So you
start...
had no idea?
No, I thought
And
it
you
was...
still haven't learned your lesson of reading briefs?
Yeah, I know. I should have really. But yeah, that was another embarrassing moment. I don't think I should go back to Buckingham Palace, to be honest.
Yeah, but there is a royal that absolutely idolises you though.
Oh, Prince William. I don't know if he does idolise us.
He
Let's try and get him on
absolutely-
the podcast.
For you, he would 100%. But does everyone know why? When you first met him?
Yeah, I think I've told this
You told
story
it-
about
oh, okay.
5,000 times.
Well, you could have saved it for this pod.
Yeah, I know. But maybe we need a new Prince William story.
Yeah, we'll have to
Maybe
get him.
he's a big Villa fan though, isn't he?
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
Yeah, so he's not going to come on, is he, with you?
No, but I wouldn't be mean to him.
Yeah.
When I was recently at I went to Windsor, we chatted on the OBE. We chatted just all about football, about Villa, and I said to him, my dad was there, and I said, "Oh, I'm really sorry, but my dad's there, but we're massive Birmingham City fans." And he looked over to my dad, and he like smiled, and there's a photo of him looking, and my dad's got this massive grin, and like Prince William's like smiling to my dad. It's
Oh.
proper cute, and. So that night was when Villa played Bayern Munich in
Yeah.
the Champions League. And so we were chatting about it. And he was like, "Oh, I'm going like not on royal duty. I'm going off. I'm going in like my normal clothes. I'm going to the game. Like, I'm so excited." He was chatting.
Yeah, yeah.
It was proper amazing. So then I get outside and like there was interviewers there, and I was like, "Yeah, he's off to the game tonight and he's going to this." And as soon as I come off, I went, "Oh no, I think I've just told the world that Prince William's off duty going to Villa Park."
Yeah.
And I was like, "Oh my God, there's going to be a security meltdown."
That is
and
so bad.
I know, and I felt really bad. So sorry about that. But
Well, you can't say sorry now.
well, he's all right. He's
Well,
been
yeah.
since, isn't he? But afterward, you don't think about things like that, do you?
No, no. I think because when you chat to him, it's just like chatting to like a brother or a friend, isn't it? Really. I've got an embarrassing picture with him because he come to St George's Park before
I know.
the Euros, and basically I was like, seize the opportunity. So I took a box-to-box coffee cup with us. And basically, I knew I couldn't just give it to him. I knew that I would have to go through loads of checks. I know you shouldn't say where he's going and stuff like that. Like, I know the royal protocols.
Right.
I'm
Alright.
joking. So basically, I give it to his security guard and said, "Oh, I'd just like him to have this like box-to-box cup," because I thought, how cool if like the future king is having his cup of tea on a morning out of the box-to-box mug. It's probably not happening. But anyway, we're walking back over the pit, like from the pitch, and I said, "By the way, I've give you like a box-to-box cup." I was like, "If you want a coffee." And then he was like, yeah, I like a coffee. And then I was showing him the different sizes. So I was going, a latte is about this big, and a flat white's about this big, and a cortado's about this big. And they didn't get us on the latte. They didn't get us on the flat white.
Right on the cortado.
They got us going like this to Prince William. And I was like, oh my God. So that is probably the most embarrassing photo that I've ever had taken, to be honest. But I was explaining the size of a cortado, which is a small coffee. Okay.
I'm glad we cleared that up.
Is it time to get the little, medium, large red book out?
I'm glad you've got it. I was worried that you'd forget it, lose it, make the producer buy another £50 red book. And
£21.99. And I'm hoping that's a new word, that Moleskin might actually send us one. And then you can have one. Kaz, I know you've been really busy with work. I know you have. And I know you still haven't brought anything for our shelves. Okay, but what we have done, I haven't done it because I can't put a shelf up. But look, I put your present on the wall.
that's so nice. Thanks.
That is nice,
It is
isn't it?
lovely. I will. That my only football memorabilia in my house will be that of
Aw.
you.
Do you know who I think you should give it to, though?
My mum.
Yeah.
She would absolutely love it.
You've already pre-thought that, haven't you?
No, yeah, I know, but because you're her favourite child.
Oh.
You genuinely
Your
are.
mum does actually love me. I think your mum loves me more than my mum loves me.
Well, my mum definitely loves you more than her own 3 children. I can guarantee that. But she, I don't know, she just absolutely adores you. It's actually really, really cute. So yeah, I'll give it to her, and she can make the Jill shrine now.
That's a birthday present or something.
Yeah.
Can you remember at Loughborough when you brought your mum to our bar opening?
As if
So
we've
me
got
and
a
Kaz
bar.
actually have a bar, Carney and Scott bar.
I've had loads of people message me at our bar.
I've had no one. Have you?
Yeah, I've had quite a few people go there, and they're like sending selfies and pictures and tags.
No way.
Yeah.
Do you know what I've just thought? I went to Loughborough the other day. I was on the campus and I went to the coffee shop and not the bar. Why didn't I go to the bar?
In our place.
Uh-huh. I forgot we had a bar there.
To be fair, none of the profits go to us, so it don't really matter.
I know, but I bet we'd get free drinks. We'll just drink the profits. But remember when you brought your mum to the opening?
Yeah.
And I ended up just spending like the whole evening with
Well,
her.
she wasn't originally coming, and then I said, it's our bar, mum. And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, well, it's mine and Jill's. And she was like, Jill? And I was like, yeah, Jill's going to be there. Oh, I'm coming. I'm coming. And then literally sat by you like the whole night. I was like, okay, bye.
Oh, she's so lovely. We need to go back there and have like a little bit of a reunion. We could get
Would
like
be quite good, actually.
who went the years that we were there? Steph Horton, Carly Telford. Who else was there?
Sayo.
Oh, Siobhan Chamberlain. I think she did about 7 degrees while she
did
was
very
there.
well out of that scholarship. But can't knock her.
No, you can't. Laura Bassett, Casey Stoney.
Emily Westwood.
Yes.
Michelle Hipmont.
We should definitely have a bit of a football match and then just go for some drinks.
No, I don't want to do the football match. Just
Just go for some drinks.
go for a social.
You know what though? Speaking of teammates, I thought we could actually speak a little bit about teammates on this podcast. Obviously, past experiences and stuff like that. And I was thinking, like me and you have obviously came out of football, and I remember a manager saying to us, "You'll never make proper friends in football. As soon as you finish, you won't get in contact with half of them." And to be honest, she was right. But I have got some good friends out of football, you being one of them. But then I was thinking to myself, like, I'm not saying you have to name specific names, but is there anybody that like you probably didn't get on with, or remember a fallout on the training pitch or anything like that? Because I don't want it to be just all about the nice stuff. Like, I think we need some stories in there.
What's quite interesting is I don't know about you, after I've stopped playing, a lot of people are like, you're an absolute, how can I say this?
Lunatic.
Like, you were a knob on the pitch. You were like,
I don't know how to swear Aubergine. I was an aubergine.
Yeah, I was an aubergine on the pitch. The vegan.
Vegan aubergine. You
Vegan
actually
aubergine.
were, though. I didn't like you when I played against you.
Yeah, and then like, and people and I was like, oh right, okay, and I hope I'm very different off the pitch.
Yeah.
But yeah, they were like, you were horrible, and I was like, well, like, what do you expect? Like,
Yeah.
I'm gonna make life easy for you playing against you, or like you're gonna try and rough up my teammate, or to be fair, everyone was always looking after me. I didn't rough anybody up if anyone got in any trouble. But yeah, like I thought that was quite interesting.
Yeah.
Like you don't ever think about your persona. Oh my God, who is it? First of all, you have to answer it.
No, do you know what it is? It's because I've got to order my grandma a dinner.
Oh, I think you should take that for the game.
No, it's not that. I'll just have to order it quickly on Deliveroo. She gets a Toby Carvery on a Monday.
Oh,
She's 91 now. Gammon, turkey, and I don't tell my mum because my grandma's diabetic, but I get her an apple crumble with custard. But she's fine. She's fine. There we go. Sorry, I actually am just sending
you know
it
what?
to
As
Sunderland.
you're doing that, I have a story from. Oh, was it your birthday? Where was it when we went?
Sent. I'll give her some
Was it
stuffing.
Newcastle? I went to your. Where was it? Sunderland. Your
21st, yes, and it was
21st?
freezing.
It wasn't.
It was
21st.
21st,
No
yeah.
way. You nearly
Yeah.
40 now.
17 years ago.
Where the Ganny came to the party.
Yeah.
And your Ganny was on gas and air, weren't she?
Yeah, oxygen.
Oxygen.
Yeah. Gas and air. She wasn't ill.
I don't know. I was really worried. I'd never seen this before. And the Ganny gets up, and obviously she's attached to the.
It's like a canister. She's not on it all the time, but she needs to, like when she's sat down, she needs to be on it.
Jill put it on her back.
Yeah.
The oxygen tank.
Yeah.
Thing. And the Ganny was dancing with the tubes and all the tubes, and Jill was holding the pack.
Yeah.
I was like, is she gonna be all right? I'd never seen any. I think I've got photos.
I think that's what's kept her going, though, honestly, I tell you. I
What,
think I'm going to get some oxygen canisters in the house.
Might have helped when we played.
Yeah, I know. But going back to when you played, sorry, I had to do that, else she would have been hungry. I should really ring her and remind her of the code. You know, you have to give the code.
Oh, do you want to ring her now?
No, she's fine. She rings us every week. What's the code? The same as the last 17 weeks, Grandma. 62. Bless her. So yeah, when you played, you were so feisty. Like so feisty, you'd like leave your studs down the back of the Achilles.
No, I wouldn't. You're exaggerating for the pod.
No, you would.
No.
Well,
no, I used to go when I was younger.
Yeah.
I was not. I think I was too aggressive because I had the first 2 minutes of any game.
Yeah.
I would just go and smash the fullback.
Because
I thought this was when I was 17, 18. And I thought if I smash the fullback first, they will leave me alone. And then as I got older, you think I'd been sent off a few times then, and you kind of think, oh, okay, you gotta chill out a little bit, Karen. But then they used to smash me then, and then I shouldn't say that after your podcast.
Yeah, I know.
You go in and hit people hard, but then they used to do it back to me, and then I wouldn't want to play then.
Yeah.
So you actually I should have kept going and like gone for people first, and they'd leave you alone.
Yeah, I think I don't remember. I probably had a couple of people, probably only like 2 people on teams that I played in where like would fell out as teammates, I think. And that was always a bit difficult, but I felt like off the pitch was more awkward than on the pitch because on the pitch I would have ran through a brick wall for them.
Yeah.
But off the pitch it was like, yeah, I remember sometimes like things not being 100% rosy. But when you're in competitive teams, like you have to tell people, I think you have to be willing to have them difficult conversations. And usually you would have them and then still carry on with like being teammates. But I remember a couple of times like falling out with people. But I think my biggest fallout in football was probably with a manager. Which I won't name names, but yeah, it was kind of the beginning of the end, really. I remember I had like a bit of a disagreement, which wasn't really like me, to be honest. It had probably been building up over a few months, and then walking off the pitch and just hearing, Jill, and you know when you've like committed to this walk, and I was thinking I should really come back now because obviously we've had this fallout, but I just carried on going. And then
That's so unlike you.
yeah, unlike me, but it had built up over a while. And then literally I got into the car to go home. Like I'd had food, like cooled down, whatever. And there was a knock on the window and it was like, Jill, the manager wants to see you in the office. And
Was you like bricking it?
no, I wasn't really. I was still annoyed and I believed I was right. I'm sure I won't say he or she. I'm sure they believed that they were right as well. And it just never got resolved. And then I think I ended up going out on loan a few times after that. But yeah, I think sometimes in sport you do have fallouts, don't you? And that's just. Did you get on with all your managers?
I remember you falling out. There was one time a manager did join in a training session. This was again when I was quite younger. And I thought,
You didn't go in hard.
yeah, I like took them out. I thought, oh, is that the only time you can ever get a manager back?
Yeah,
If
yeah.
they want to join in, I remember I just thought I'm going through you. So I went through them.
And did they select you the
They
next game?
They looked at us, and they couldn't say nothing because it was like, well, you're playing the game, like
Yeah,
you've annoyed me.
yeah.
But that was again when I was a bit younger. Never said anything, and yeah, just yeah. I think people should have just used to wind me up. And
Yeah.
I probably would have.
Yeah, but I didn't think you'd kick the manager. That's the one that's going to select you.
I think I had to go at Emma Hayes maybe a couple of times because I think there was, but it was only when I'd felt like, usually it was other things was going on, and then if I had a go at her, which was very rare because I respected her to the high heavens, then she'd pull me because she had a go at me the once, and I was so angry with her. I was fuming. So I just lost my head with her. I think I just went at her.
Yeah.
And because I thought she was being unfair, and then because I had a go at her, she must have thought, this isn't like Kaz. Like it was very rare. Like you have to push me to the limits to.
Yeah.
Usually I'd just 2-foot you, wouldn't I? Or then this time it was more verbal, so I had a go at her, and then she pulled me in, and then we went through everything that was going on, both on the pitch, off the pitch, and she was like, "Okay, I'm sorry," and then fixed everything.
She said sorry.
Well, yeah,
I don't think I can imagine Emma saying sorry.
Okay, in my head it felt like an apology. No, I think it's hard when you're managing so many people.
Yeah.
I can kind of empathise from any manager's position now where like everyone's got things on the pitch and off the pitch, and you're having to deal with your own staff and deal with this. And I just massively exploded and imploded, and then she pulled me in and was like, "What's going on?" And I told everything, and then
Yeah.
she wrote it on a board and was like, "Okay, we need to do this." Like I was injured as well and like fixing all this. And then she went and fixed it all, and then I was fine then.
Yeah.
So that was very rare. If I had a go at someone, it was because people had pushed me too far.
And sometimes you have to get it out, don't you? I remember my last game at City, and I think when it's like your reality, as you say, like the manager's looking after a lot of people. But I remember my last game, and I knew it was going to be my last game, 8 years at the club. Obviously, I was quite emotional. And I remember I was going out on loan, and I knew that was going to be it. And basically got a phone call on the morning, and it was like, the goalkeeper coach can't do the warm-up, we're playing Arsenal. And it was like, so do you mind like taking the defenders for the warm up and everything else? I was in the squad and I literally I remember I was like warming Steph up, like ready for the game, which obviously I was just like, that was my last game at City, doing the warm up for the Arsenal game.
Going to the defensive warm up.
And I don't think it was a case of thinking like, oh, this is Jill's last game, like whatever. It was just like, that's what I need in the moment and that's what I'm doing. And obviously at the time I had so much anger and so much rage because you're so like emotional about it. And didn't even get I remember at the end it was like, oh, I forgot to say that like you were leaving, but good luck if you ever need anything. I thought, don't you dare say call you, because you'll be the last person I'm calling. But sometimes you don't get them perfect endings, do you, in football? And I'm so grateful for the Euros moment because I did get my perfect ending in the end. But sports, highs, lows, good friends.
You know what, though? I don't think you didn't announce at the Euros until quite after you were retiring, right?
Yeah.
But it was. I remember watching the Euro final at the end. You just going round. And going all to the fans, and I was like, "Oh, that's Jill's goodbye."
I think I milked it, to be honest. I definitely
would milk
milked
it if I was you. You deserved
I
it.
milked it. Right, we have to go back to teammates. Kaz overthinks quick fire questions, so let's hit you with some quick fire questions.
Go on then.
Okay, let's think.
Do I have to say them back to you?
No, just see, I knew you'd overthink the quick fire question.
I'm just asking.
Answer the quick fire
I will
question.
answer, but people want to also hear your answers.
Okay, I was going to say who'd be first at training, but I wouldn't know the answer because I wouldn't be there. So who would be first at training?
I was always late. I was at the back of the bus with you.
Yeah.
I always used to get
Well,
told
think
off.
about club, maybe Chelsea. Who was first at training?
To be fair, I was always first at Chelsea.
Were you?
Yeah, I was
Well,
always
on the
first.
pitch, or you were getting massages.
No, I was late onto the pitch always because it was cold.
Yeah.
I was always first in the building because I'd always do a bike
Oh,
session.
so you got there first, but you did
Yeah.
nothing.
No, I did a bike session and then I'd have breakfast and then I'd go out and do the pitch.
Okay.
Millie Bright was always fantastic. Fran
Yeah.
was always fantastic in the gym and early.
Quick
at Chelsea.
fire.
All right.
Oh.
Go on then. What about you?
I'm trying to think. Steph Houghton, always
Yeah,
first in the gym.
I'm not surprised.
KB, Karen Bardsley.
You were terrible in the gym.
Oh, I was so bad in the
You
gym.
used to talk to everybody.
So bad.
How did
in
you
the
get
gym.
away with it?
I just didn't enjoy the gym.
But no one did, but like, you know, like
No,
everyone-
I disagree with that. I think some people like the gym.
Ellen
Karen
did.
Bardsley loved the gym.
Ellen loved it.
Yeah, I think Steph loved the gym
Yeah.
as well. But I think I was always like, how is doing bicep curls going to make us a better midfielder? Do you know what I mean? How is doing a pull-up? I'm not going to be hanging off the crossbar in the game. Like that, I couldn't see how things would transfer.
This is where I love Jill hates science. It really makes me laugh. You hate science.
I just, you know what? I've got a couple of gripes with the science side. There was one where it was like, Jill, you're not allowed a coffee on the day of a game, and that made us really angry because I was like, I've had coffee all my career, and then I was like, why aren't I allowed a coffee on game day? And they wouldn't give you an explanation. And then I come back to the fact that they couldn't measure how much caffeine was in it, but yet you were allowed to have caffeine tablets, which are about 3 or 4 times the amount of caffeine in a coffee. So take Jill's flat white off her, she gets angry. So that made us angry. And then also, what's your take on ice baths? You were always in the ice bath.
Yeah, because I was old.
And-
There's actually it's mixed research, isn't it? So for women, maybe it's not that great, but it's also how it makes you feel.
But did you feel like it helped you?
No, I didn't like getting my belly wet. It sounds a bit weird. If my belly got cold, I didn't want to know, so I'd just stand in it to my knees.
Yeah, but let's be honest, it wasn't your belly because we all used to go to your knees. When
Yeah.
it hit a certain area,
Yeah,
it would take your breath away, wouldn't it?
a little bit, yeah.
It would actually. You could have done with it being sewn up
You
like the
weren't-
first episode. But when that happened,
Definitely Barbie-esque. You didn't like him. I never saw you in them.
I just didn't really see
Never.
the benefit of it. I did later on in my career, we did the cryo chamber, which is minus 150 degrees.
You only went in there because you looked like a Smurf with your gloves and the hat on,
No, but you're in
and you
there.
had a social post.
No, you're in there for 3 minutes, so it's quick. And I did feel like it would like just freeze you.
And you
then,
slept amazing, didn't
yeah, you did sleep amazing. But then again, I could sleep.
you? So that's the only science that you like.
Yeah, but then I remember when I was at Man City, they started doing contrast. So you could do a minute in the cold, minute in the warm, and you do like 10 minutes of each. So obviously the warm
Did you
was
do that
yeah,
as
like this, like a puppet. And then basically I'd always end on the hot. And this one time, the sports scientist, like this one time at Ben Camp, sports scientist walks in and she goes, Jill, out the hot, you've got to end on the cold. And I was like, oh, really? And she was like, yes, out. She was like, else you're going to get fined. So I was sitting there, it was so nice and warm. It was like 40 degrees, like a hot tub. And I just went to her, just out of curiosity, how much is the fine? She was like, £20. So do you know what I did? I stayed in it for half an hour because I thought, you know what? Half an hour in a hot tub for £20, it's quite worth it.
So you just took the hit.
Yeah, I took the hit.
Love that. And did you get in trouble as well, or were they like
I think that was when she took my coffee offers.
quick fire round went well?
Quick fire round. Yes, so we need some more.
Other than you, who was the funniest teammate?
Funniest teammate. Ooh. I used to laugh at people, not at people,
Oh,
but
that's so mean.
no, but not like laugh at people, but people made us laugh for different reasons.
Go on then.
Farah could be funny, couldn't she?
She was cheeky though.
Yeah.
One way she used to wind me up was when you're in the huddle and the manager's talking and she'd go, heads, heads, heads. And she'd go out and you think the ball's going to hit you and everyone's like this. And then she'd go, ha, 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 ha.
I know.
She'd just make you jump.
Should always be jumping out at you as
Ah,
well,
she was a
wouldn't
little-
she?
Pain.
And when she used to get mad as well, like small-sided games, she'd get so mad, and that would actually
A
make
lot of
us laugh.
people lose their head in small-sided games.
It was going back to a time when there was no phones, wasn't it? And I think that's what like really helped. Like, remember Rachel Yankee, Mary Phillips, Sue Smith,
Well,
like
you're making them out to be so old.
no, but we used to have like such a fun time. And then when the end of my career, and it'll have been the same for you, obviously the next generation, it is a lot about phones and social media.
I remember when I was at the World Cup in 2019, I looked around the dressing room and I thought, you know, it's time to go, and you don't know the genre of music,
Yeah.
and you think, I can't relate to the group anymore. And all my career, I'd been the youngster, so I'd
Yeah.
always had people like 5 or 6 years older than me. So then to be the old one, and I was only 31,
Yeah.
and then see all the kids around, I think, I don't understand the music, I don't understand the terminology, I don't understand the social media stuff.
Yeah.
I was like, I think I'm done here. I think that actually done me over more than the football.
The social
Yeah,
media.
the whole kind of, when you can't relate to dressing room, it's time to go, I think.
I think the younger generation had a party when I retired, because I used to get a dinner and say, "Come on, off our phones, let's all share one positive experience we've had
my
today."
God.
And they're thinking I just want to scroll through TikTok and eat my pasta. And I was like, always. So I think when I said I was retiring, I think they were like, "Thank God for that. We can go back on Snapchat, TikTok." But I think it's so important, because there'd be games where you'd just finish and people would go straight on the phones. And I really wanted to say like, "Oh, I thought you played well today," and stuff like that. And I think people sometimes look for validation now in life and in sport through social media, people that they don't even know. And I'm like, they'd rather hear it from a stranger than a teammate, a friend, a family member. And that actually blows my mind. It does actually blow my mind. Like, end of my career, I remember getting messages going, "Oh, Jill Scott needs binning from that England team. She doesn't even make the box anymore." And I was like, I've been told that I'm playing holding midfield. But they were like, "Our legs have gone." I'm like, these people don't even know our tactics and they're still having a go. So I do think it's important that now.
That's why the groups, I challenge you on that. The group, you probably think they might have had a party, but that's why they all, I sit back now and all the players still come to you, because you have that ability to chat to them and rationalise things for them. And you do it in such a nice way as well. I do, you know, was it the last World Cup?
Yeah.
You went there and you were doing a different role, but you were still involved with the group. And you're so important, even to this day, to that team. It was really weird. I was like, she's still a key member and she's not even in the squad now. She's retired. But yeah,
I think I played just as much football in that World Cup as the previous tournaments, to be honest. But it is about the memories in tournaments. I remember us like going to coffee shops and stuff like that. And when you said about being on holiday, I was recently in Valencia.
Oh, yeah?
And I did actually send a picture. I don't think you responded.
I wasn't in the photo.
You mustn't have been in the group then. Can you remember the Euros?
I was not in the photo.
Oh, were you not?
No.
Because you never came for coffee. So basically, cut a long story short, Euros 2017, we went to Valencia for a pre-camp, went for a coffee. Were you not in the picture? Kaz never came for coffee because she wasn't sociable then. But can you remember that Valencia trip? So we had it was tough training that week, I remember.
Yeah.
So we had a beach day and we all went to the beach. Did you go?
Yeah.
Yeah. And we had all these inflatables, like
Wasn't news there?
unicorns.
Actually, I wasn't there.
Everything. Were you not there?
I think I walked there. I didn't do what you guys did, and then I heard about what happened.
You were in the ice bath, I reckon. So it's the prep for the Euros 2017. Like, we've gone into it, the strongest team going, and we'd been to the beach for the day. And then we get back and it's like the news is on and it's like all this footage of Spain training, like all this little technical work.
This is true.
Yeah, and then I think they had France in the gym, bicep curls, pull-ups, ice baths. And then it went, and the England team are strong favourites for the Euros. And it was Casey, who I think was captain, in an inflatable unicorn on the sea in Valencia. I am doing live on the news, the worm. along the beach, and I was
so
just
true.
like, oh my
I think we
God.
watched it back that evening.
Yeah,
on
and
the
I was
telly.
like, we are in so much trouble. But I don't actually think we were. But I went back and I posted a picture of the coffee shop we used to
I
go
saw it
to.
recently. It was
It-
funny. That is gospel though. That happens, isn't it?
I
'Cause I
know.
remember watching it back going, oh no.
I know. Casey was literally on an inflatable unicorn, the captain of the Euros. But we did train hard, but it was just in that moment.
Yeah, you didn't get to tell off because it was your day off. You
Yeah.
do what you want on your day off.
I know, but
Literally, you did what you want.
yeah, we literally did. I was going to ask you when you were talking about being a winger, who was the toughest fullback you came up against?
I'm not just saying it because she's where she is now. I would say Sonia Bompastor.
Oh, really?
Yeah, we had a little. It's a bit awkward now. We had a little like rivalry. She played for Washington. She obviously played for Leon and Arsenal. Being at Arsenal, played against her. Then at Washington, played against her at Chicago, and then France and England. So I played against her a lot of times, and I remember having banter with her. Tried to have a little rivalry with her. I thought she was, I was talking about on the pitch, like being very different to off the pitch. Like she was so feisty.
Yeah.
She was horrible, and she was the one that would go down the back of my Achilles. She'd get in there and be feisty and aggressive and intimidate you. If you did anything back to her, she'd go straight to the referee, and then she'd be just ranting at you in French, and like that's intimidating enough. And I'm like, I don't understand what you're going on about.
Experience, isn't it? That
yeah,
because she'll have had like
class.
10 years on you, maybe.
I don't think she's that older,
Is
is
she
she?
not?
It's a bit harsh,
God,
Jill.
I hope she is.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Yeah, but she's great defensively, but she had a wonderful left foot.
Yeah.
She could hurt you going the other way. Sometimes, as battles with wingers, you think, okay, they've maybe nullified me in terms of my attacking trait,
Yeah.
but she'd run you the other way and she'd make you, defend. So, and
Yeah.
to be fair, Lucy Bronze as well.
I think Chelsea's always been mine. Katie Chapman, we had some right battles.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and then I think Millie Bright kind of took over from Katie Chapman. And obviously when we played Doncaster Bells versus Everton, the 2 times I played up against Millie Bright, no word of a lie, I ended up in hospital. But it was just, she was so competitive.
Why did you end up in hospital?
I think we went up for a header on one of them, and I think I got concussion, and then she whacked into us on another one, and I think I actually broke one of my ribs. But do you know what? Millie Bright, one of the best players to have in your team. And I didn't mind
100%.
when she used to, like, if we'd hurt each other, because I knew I'd want her to be doing that to opponents on the weekend. So we've had a few moments. I think I went to have a shot in 5-a-side. She made a tackle. I think I like nearly broke my arm, and we used to just laugh about it. But she was just such a strong player. She was so difficult to play up against. But you want them doing it on your team on a weekend, so you can't complain really. And then my last one, I would say, obviously we always speak about Kelly Smith as one of the best players ever that we've probably both played with. But I was wondering, can we give like an insight into maybe like an unsung hero? Because you always hear about, I think, Kelly Smith. I think I speak a lot now about Kira Walsh, players like that. But I think when I look back, especially 2009 Euros, 2011 World Cup as well, I think Anita Asante, for me, for 3 years running, should have been International Player of the Year. She was fantastic. 2009, she played 4 games with a torn ACL and was still one of our best players. So we were either rubbish or she was just flying.
No,
but
she
I
was
don't
amazing.
think she gets the credit she deserves.
No, I mean, in terms of technical ability, strengths, pace, she had everything.
Yeah.
I think she was a better centre half than, I think that was her strongest position.
Yeah.
But you could never get past her strength, pace, and then she was just so comfortable on the ball, the short passing game, like the Arsenal way. And yeah, I thought, she was unreal.
Yeah.
Why did you like her so much?
No, I think as when I played midfield with her, I just thought she was brilliant. I thought she was technically great. I used to hate when the ball got fizzed into us in midfield because I'm like, if I give this away, but if it went into her, I knew she wasn't going to lose it. So I would give the unsung hero to Anita Asante.
I think mine would be Yanks.
Oh, really?
Yeah, I think.
Great player though. Great
I
player.
think Kelly was probably like a hero of mine, and my mum told a really funny story at the weekend. When like kids come up and ask for like a signed photo or something like that, or phone. My mum said if Kelly I went up to Kelly as a 12-year-old kid, and I had an England shirt, and I've still got it signed from her. And she said, if my mum said, if Kelly or Rachel turned you down, how would it have made you feel?
Yeah.
And I said, yeah. She goes, so don't you dare ever turn a kid down. I said, fair, mum. And I
Sorry
haven't.
to the one in the Maldives
Yeah,
who's
the
still on
Maldives,
the
who's still crying
on the side of the
He
pitch.
joined in eventually. You got to teach them though, Jill. But no, I think so Kelly was, I think, by far the best player I've ever played with. But I think Rachel as well, though, for me was like the first major icon of the women's game.
Yeah.
And I think like what she did and how incredible she was. And I'm just sad like that we don't have the social media, or as that's sometimes when I'm sad, or the TV or the broadcasting to showcase how good Rachel, how good Kelly was.
Yeah.
Because they were just like phenomenal. And I think Rachel,
I have got videotapes of
there
them.
we go. There we go.
There we go.
But I think Rachel, and like just a real quick story on Rachel, Champions League semi-final, I can't remember who we were playing, and like Rachel turned up late, and I remember thinking, oh, where's Yanks? And she drove a minibus on the day of the semi-final and took kids that had never been, like kids that never couldn't afford to go to a football match. She took them to the semi-final, drove the minibus, made sure all the kids had a shirt, and then they were like chaperoned with two people that she knew, because she coached kids football teams. She drove the minibus on the day of the semi-final, made sure they were all okay, gave them an experience of a football match, went and played. Obviously, we got through to the final, and then drove them all home.
Wow.
That's like, as a player, as an icon, and as a human, like Rachel Yankee for me is like, I don't think you can never surpass her.
And as a teammate, remember the Olympics when she got us all headphones and they were like,
I
don't get anything ordered to the room. And she literally somehow got in touch with Beats headphones and managed to get hold of 25 pairs of headphones. And she sent a message out going, come to my room one by one. I was like, oh, what is it? And I walked in, I went out with this big pair of headphones.
Remember, pal, we all got on the bus and like you were walking past, and I hopes like this.
Yes. Where have they all got these headphones?
All got these headphones, and we were all like,
yeah, you couldn't hide them neither. They were like
massive,
big,
massive
weren't they?
GB flags, everything.
But Yank sorted that out, which was so nice, so nice. I've got a last question for you before we leave this episode.
Yeah.
Did you ever Sonia Bompastor?
Did you mean run past her?
Yeah.
Sonia run past her. Maybe once.
No, but I used that surname.
Oh, okay. This is where I'm wasted on Jill.
I am wasted. Sonia Bompastor.
That was very good, Jill.
And did you?
Once or twice.
Okay.
Not me and the ball, it was one.
How old is she before I get in trouble for this
like
10 years?
She looks great for however old she is.
I hope she's...
44.
Right, we've got to take that out. Okay, Sonia had like 7 years on you, to be exact. Right, so that's it for episode 2. Hopefully you've enjoyed listening to our stories, but we want to hear from you. So please send your stories to longstorysshort@crowdnetwork.co.uk. And for all of our socials, Kaz?
Long story short.
That's the name of the pod, but...
Follow it.
At
Long Short Pod.
At Long Short Pod.
At Long Short Pod.
So socials at Long Short Pod. Right, Kaz, same time next week.
Do it.
You know what? Go and make some stories so that we can hear them next week. Okay? Deal?